Hi. So the gloves are off. There is no time and space for subtlety even. Hathras is under lockdown, not just Bulgari, the village where the 22-year-old Dalit woman was allegedly gang raped, killed and her body disposed of, but also kilometers before, the Noida toll bridge barricaded with heavy police presence. This morning, as of around 11 a.m., the media was allowed to enter the village because the government-instituted SIT completed its probe. Look at the word I used, allowed. As if granting access to the press is not a constitutional requirement. But remember, it's just the media, nobody else, specifically no political delegations, at least at the time of filing this report. So in all but one way, Hathras is still under lockdown. Several hundred police forces from 5 different districts and 2 companies of the provincial armed constabulary. That would amount to about 300 personnel equipped with semi-automatic guns have been deployed in Hathras. This fortress is Hathras. It's a Lok Sabha constituency. It's just 200 kilometers from the capital. Most political delegations so far, and that includes the Congress and the TMC, have so far encountered pretty much what India encounters every day, pushed and roughed up. Of course, many of them have been aggressive about this matter, mostly on Twitter till very late. But that conversation is for another day. The point I'm trying to make is how brazen and full of impunity all of this is. The family is being subjected to more and more trauma. The SIT probe is over within 48 hours, and based on that probe, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has suspended 5 police officers. We all know better than to rejoice at that, right? Unbelievably, the SIT has suggested polygraph and narco tests for everyone involved. The policeman, the accused, but also the victim's family. The family that has been through unimaginable horror and trauma in the last 2 weeks. Let's make a note of that. India is one of the few democratic countries that still uses narco and polygraph tests. Narco tests lie on extremely shaky ethical, legal, and medical grounds. There are pros and cons to them depending on what cases they are used in. Narco test results are not admissible in court. But to subject all of this on the victim's family is an utter negation of human rights, of humanity, of basic human decency. They're being treated as hostages. Yesterday, when there was a complete lockdown, the victim's brother, a young boy, ducked police presence through all the fields to reach the media who was stranded outside the village. His family had sent him to get a message out. He said the police were either asking them to switch their phones off or simply were taking them away. He said very clearly they were being threatened. Today, the Joint Magistrate of Hathras, Prem Prakash Meena, said all of this is false. No one was confined, no phones were taken, and then in an unfortunate slip of tongue, he said, if a child can escape, it shows there were no restrictions on the family. Escape from what, Mr. Veena? Escape from where? But you know who didn't have to escape because there were no restrictions? People affiliated with the Savarna Samaj. They took out a dharna, they chanted slogans, they held a panchayat demanding justice for the accused upper caste men who allegedly raped and killed the Dalit girl. All of this happened in Hathras, the very same Hathras that is under lockdown, that was a COVID containment zone for a few hours, where large gatherings are not allowed. This happened in Bhagna village, just 1 kilometer from where the police are deployed. Now, one would think that the optics of all of this looks terrible, looks bad, right? The Uttar Pradesh government is one step ahead. It has employed the services of one of the largest PR agencies of the country, Concept PR, to manage the media response to Hathras and Uttar Pradesh police. Now, I'm nothing against PR companies. They have a job to do. They've circulated a press note as if a new product is being launched, saying the forensic reports show the victim was not raped, also mentioned by the ADG police. Now, first of all, a private firm making a statement on an ongoing criminal investigation which negates the dying declaration of the victim. Think about it. But also remember, there are a whole host of other reports. You know that other statement that was made by the ADG police himself. No sperm was found in the woman's sample, so she wasn't raped. She died from injuries to her neck. The UP police says her forensic tests were done on September 24th, sample sent to the lab on September 25th, 10 days after the rape. The Economic Times accessed Safdarjung Hospital's postmortem report, and it said there were multiple old, healed tears in the victim's private parts. A forensic expert has also explained that since she was assaulted on the 14th of September, it is possible that the tears were caused at the time of the incident, thus signaling rape, and healed by the time the exams were done on her. There is also another medical report. This one is dated the 22nd of September. It's prepared by the hospital in Aligarh, where the victim was admitted before Delhi. That also mentions, quote unquote, signs of use of force. Now, all these reports, the dying declaration, the family's testimonies, they are exactly what are being buried and deflected by PR notes, by tapping phone conversation of journalists, or perhaps the victim's brother, by releasing videos of the victim without hiding her face, by the way, in clear violation of the law, as if the victim and the mother is expected to talk about a brutal crime to every man who decides to stop by on the roadside and ask, "Ki bhai kya hua?" So let's get this straight. What is the need to do all this if there's nothing to hide? If she wasn't raped, why burn the body and all the evidence with it? Why keep the family away from one final goodbye? Why do what can be best considered a veiled threat of sorts? The district magistrate Praveen Kumar, in a really short video, possibly leaked by the victim's family, is seen as telling the woman's father, "Aadhi media to chali gayi hai, aadhi chali jayegi, only we will remain here. So it's not verbatim, but do not harm your credibility or else things might change." He, by the way, is not one of those suspended after the SIT probe. So I'm surprised that then the victim's family has now demanded a Supreme Court monitored probe, not SIT, not CBI. The only glimmer of hope at this point in time is the Allahabad High Court. It has taken suo motu cognizance of the way the woman was cremated and has summoned several senior Uttar Pradesh officials on the 12th of October. Now, 12th of October really feels like a long, long time away. I want to end this video here, but I want to make a mention of language and words. Speaking of things that shouldn't be said, absolutely must not be said after a heinous gang rape and a murder of a young woman. The Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh finally issued a formal statement over the incident. He said something on the lines of, "We will protect our mothers and daughters at all costs. Those who commit offenses against them will be," and this is his word, "destructed." Now, women and girls have to be safe just by the virtue of being human beings and not because they're related to men somehow. Words matter. And we in the media need this more than ever. I was pointed to how we passively construct our sentences, and this came via Amit Marwa's Twitter feed. People said that we often say, someone on his feed mentioned that we often say X number of women are raped every year. How about saying X number of men rape every year? Or even the sentence violence against men. Or even the sentence violence against women. Men are not even there. The violence just happens by itself. It's something to think about. I'll leave it here. If you've been watching, thank you for your time. If this has been of any use, it has made any sense to you, we'd appreciate if you share this video, leave a comment with your friends and family.